Well, given both of our, I guess, lack of excitement around Sean Payton in general as a head coach, paired with our also disdain for the sideshow that is Russell Wilson, this was a pretty entertaining last couple of days, wasn't it?
I'm surprised Russell responded the way
I am
he
too.
the way he
Yeah.
did because Russell's usually Mr. I'm going to the children's hospital. I'm above everything.
Yeah.
So I
But
think
you
that was
also know that he's got thin skin as well. I mean, he definitely does seem to be you know,
yeah.
an emotional guy at times.
Yeah,
And
maybe explain what's going on for the people
yeah.
who don't know. But yeah, I mean, my instant reaction is like, damn, Russell Wilson said something.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos pulled off an incredible comeback victory against the New York Giants, a historic one. It doesn't happen very often. Scored 33 fourth quarter points behind Bo Nix. They were down 19-0 to start the fourth quarter and came back to win it 33-31, I believe, or 32. And after the game, Sean Payton basically explained how he was a little bummed that the New York Giants decided to go with Jackson Dart, the rookie, a few weeks back. He was hoping that they would, still have the other quarterback there playing for them. And of course, he's, taking a subtle or not so
Mr.
subtle dig
Unlimited.
at Russell Wilson there, who was benched a few weeks back. So obviously, Sean Payton implying that he would rather have played against Russell Wilson and they felt more comfortable than Jackson Dart, who did, to his credit, take them down to the wire. Russell then, of course, retweets the quote that comes out and basically said, I'm paraphrasing, said, "Oh, not surprising. After 15 years, he's still out here bounty hunting." So Russell Wilson then taking his own subtle dig, or not so subtle dig,
Yeah.
at Sean Payton with the Bountygate scandal from over a decade ago as well. So the two jarring back and forth, well documented. They don't like each other. That experiment didn't work in Denver, and he was ousted after a year with Sean Payton. Goes to Pittsburgh now with the Giants. But yeah, pretty entertaining development there. You don't often see head coaches taking digs at former players, and then also those players, responding. Let alone two Hall of Famers
Yeah, I
essentially
feel
in this
like
conversation.
I feel like Sean Payton, like, I mean, listen, he's puffing his chest a little bit. He's never
Yeah.
afraid to say what he wants to say. He's authentically himself. It's something that frustrates me. Like, I wouldn't love it if it was my head coach. But listen, the results are speaking for themselves. The Broncos, what, 5-2, and are they're playing some wild football, inconsistent but winning football. And
Yeah.
so,
I
I
mean,
know
they
we'll,
let themselves get down 19-0 against the
yeah,
New York Giants.
and let's be honest, there is truth in what he's saying. I think now after watching Jackson Dart here for 3-4 weeks, you can honestly sit here and say like, "Oh, I'd rather play Russell Wilson than
Yeah.
Jackson Dart." I think it's pretty obvious what he's saying. It's just again, it's in an era where so many coaches are really great at coach speak and they don't make stories in the media out of stuff like that, except for, and
Yeah.
then you have bad owners like Woody Johnson putting their foot in their mouth.
Oh gosh, yeah, bad two big, high profile people in
Dude, Woody
franchises
Johnson,
making questionable choices at the
if
podium.
I'm
So,
Justin Fields, I refuse to suit up for that
yeah,
man.
that
Like
was bad. That was
I
very bad.
would refuse to suit up. I'd be like how dare you? You just
Yeah.
chose to sign me to a 3-year contract and pay me what, like $33 million, and you have the audacity to say that when you look at what Sam Darnold is doing, what Aaron Rodgers is doing, what all of these other quarterbacks. Joe Flacco was a Jet; it didn't work out. Look at all these other quarterbacks who've left New York, the Jets, and have been successful. They're a disaster, and he has the audacity to basically say like, oh, you got to give my head coach some leeway because of the quality of the quarterback that he's been playing with. It's like, dude, that's the guy you
Right.
signed,
Yeah.
who was 4-2 with Pittsburgh last
Not just that
year.
you signed, but that you like outbid for essentially and said you're
Yes,
going to be our quarterback for 2 years.
yeah, it's embarrassing, and so like bad week at the podium for some of those guys, and then especially in a world like as I was alluding to, where so many coaches are really good at coach speak. We had some bad stuff from leaders of men,
Yeah.
owners and coaches this week at the microphone.
Not ideal choices. I'm excited for this episode because it's a little bit different from our typical procedure that we do here throughout the season. Of course, if you're an avid listener and watcher, We break down every game from the previous week, but uh, coupling with the fact that we're doing the show a little bit later in the week than typical, along with the fact that we're just over the 1/3 mark in and have some interesting divisional standings forming, we figured let's take a moment to step back and give a holistic view of the league standings right now and the various divisions. Do we see this trend continuing with some of these divisions? Do we see other teams overtaking the top spot as the season goes on? So excited to dive into this special edition of the Football Lounge with Mark and Dan.
You know, Dan, as they say, been waiting all day for Wednesday night. Here we go.
Exactly. No question about it. Not only that, been waiting all year for a graphic featuring Drake May and Daniel Jones, one that I didn't think we would ever
Peyton Manning
be.
and Tom
Uh,
Brady 2.0.
Yeah, seriously, that we're highlighting these two individuals with positive things to say about both teams going into week 8 of the 2025 NFL season. And we'll start in the AFC, Mark, with the AFC East. The New England Patriots are the top dogs right now in the AFC East. Now, of course, they've played one more game than the Buffalo Bills. So the Bills are 4-2. The Patriots are 5-2. The Miami Dolphins 1-6. The New York Jets 0-7. So this might be the biggest division with disparity that we have in the NFL, certainly right now, but even by season's end, the bottom two teams among the two worst in the NFL and the top two really, really good quality teams battling it out. But interesting, Mark, through 7 weeks of the NFL season, did not have the New England Patriots being on top of this division on my bingo card. So
No.
there you have it. Drake May playing really, really good football. And we'll see if the Buffalo Bills can, get right back to that top spot after a win this weekend.
The Patriots are taking advantage of such an easy schedule. And we said it when we were doing our preview show. And it was something I stood by where I had them as a 9-win team. But basically because it's like, oh, they're going to beat up on teams because they have 9 easy wins. Now, I didn't have them as a 10, 11, 12, 13-win team because I just didn't think they had enough talent around Drake May to take that next step. What we're realizing is Drake May is talented enough. Like he is making everyone else around him better. Dan, I think we underestimated having the coaching staff that they do. I mean, the fact that you have Josh McDaniels, who is probably in the best spot. He's the best coach in the best spot in the NFL. Like that is his spot. He is the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. And when he is the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, he is phenomenal. And he's been phenomenal. Him and Drake May are so simpatico. Obviously, then you have Mike Vrabel to set the culture and the tone. Listen, do I think that New England is a Super Bowl contender? No. This feels a lot like that Houston year 2 years ago, like that CJ Stroud rookie year, where you're like, this kind of feels like it's a little bit of fool's gold. I don't know what the ceiling feels like. Maybe they win a playoff game and then they get overwhelmed by a roster that's just better than them. But they're going to keep stacking wins. I fully feel as though New England is in the driver's seat to win this division because the schedule. Dan, the Bills still have the Chiefs, the Bucks, the Steelers, the Patriots, the Eagles on their schedule. I mean, those are tough games. And for them to keep pace with New England, they're going to have to beat New England at New England. And they're going to have to find a way to probably win 3 of the 4 of those other games, which is Chiefs, Bucks, Steelers, Eagles. That's not an easy task to say win 3 or 4 when the Bills have looked underwhelming as far as their number one weapon. I thought it would still feel a lot more like last year where Josh is just making everyone better, and he is, but it doesn't feel like it has the same magic at this point in time last year. As far as the Jets and the Dolphins go, my honest reaction is the Dolphins will fire McDaniel before the end of the season probably. He's lost the team. They've lost their identity. They've lost their will. They just look like a poorly coached football team with not a lot of talent. And then Mike McDaniel will be the desired offensive coordinator. What rehab stint he'll find, it'll be a good one. Someone's going to be really excited to get him as an offensive coordinator next year. And for the Jets at this point in time, as we said with Woody Johnson, they're an ugly franchise. I mean, I would argue at this point in time, they have the least positive vibes of any franchise in the NFL. They have probably the most negative vibes. When you look at other teams that aren't winning as much, a Cleveland, a Raiders, there's still things you can pull at. You can say, like, okay, they have maybe a game plan. They maybe have a direction. You know, Cleveland's got a bunch of picks. The Raiders, they have a coaching staff that we still like are professionals. They have an ownership, Tom Brady and ownership professionalism. But Miami and the Jets are probably the two maybe bottom franchises as far as vibes go right now in the NFL. And I don't see that turning around soon for either of them.
Yeah, I agree with a lot what you said. I really like the comp to the Houston Texans for the New England Patriots from just a couple years back. The one thing I'll say is to me, it's even more impressive because this is primarily coach based versus personnel based, where it felt like the Texans was almost like a perfect mix of the two. D'Amico came in with a certain gravitas, but you had a talented quarterback. You also had the top edge rusher in the draft on that side of the ball, and then plenty of other pieces, including quite a few weapons on the offensive side for the Houston Texans at that time. Whereas with New England, it has felt like that roster is pretty stripped down outside of a couple key players. Stephon Diggs, that acquisition has worked out pretty well so far, better than I thought it would have. And then you've got Christian Gonzalez, who was also hurt at the beginning of this year, but a really talented cornerback. And then, of course, Drake May. But other than that, you really don't have a whole lot. Now, Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, they're forming a duo in the backfield that seems to be much better than Ramondre being the lead back. So that seems to be working. And yeah, it's really just Vrabel taking the reins and building something there with the culture and with the personnel. On top of it is they've been one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to penalties, which was a little bit unexpected because Mike Vrabel is a guy about discipline and stuff. Maybe that's something that's going to take a little more time. But the fact that they're 5-2 with that, and the fact that they don't have a whole lot of talent on the roster, that's what's most impressive to me. And I agree, they're not a Super Bowl team this year, but it gives you a feeling of, oh, here we go. This team might be a couple years away from forming some sort of mini dynasty once again, because so many things are going right now, and it does appear that they have the quarterback. The Bills are the team that I think over the last 3 weeks have started to fade in terms of the discussion because they had a couple really bad back-to-back losses, and then we enter the bye week here. So there's been a lot of cooling off with the Buffalo talk. But I think after this week, we're going to be reminded once again, oh yeah, this is one of the top teams in the league. And to me, Buffalo is still the team to beat in this division come season end. But New England's not going anywhere. And this is a team now that I can easily see getting to 10 wins, where before the season, I thought 7, maybe 8 was going to be their ceiling. Now it looks like 10 is actually a pretty reasonable number to look at for this team. Miami, that experiment's over. It's just a matter of time now. I don't see how Mike McDaniel is going to survive this season. I don't know also what they're really going to end up doing with Tua, because I think whoever they bring in, it's probably most likely going to be 1 year of Tua after this with a new head coach and probably a new GM, and they're just going to ride it out and figure out what to do in the meantime by building for the future.
My guess, really, that's a great point. My guess is if I'm the new head coach, I want an assurance that if I feel there's a quarterback in the first round that is available that I like, that we have the opportunity to take him, because after next year, yes, Tua's contract is more malleable to get out of, but I'm not taking that job if they're wanting me to commit to Tua. Absolutely.
And I'm also not guaranteeing that I'm going to be playing Tua the whole year. Like if I'm the new coach and you get that rookie quarterback, this is kind of perfect setup for you. You can go 3 weeks, and if Tua's a disaster, then we're going to the rookie quarterback, and that's it. That's it. We're done. It's over, and we're moving on.
Yeah.
1-6 is unacceptable for this team. With the talent they have, Tyreek Hill injury or not, it's totally unacceptable. It does appear that the locker room is just completely out of sync. Guys just playing for themselves, and that's what you end up getting this type of output from that. And then the Jets, a dumpster fire. Again, really didn't expect them to be this bad. They're the worst team in the league right now. I mean, I feel like the Tennessee Titans look like they have a little bit more life and juice than the New York Jets.
Yeah, at least they have
now,
a
if I put them
quarterback.
back to had them go at it for 10 games, I'd still say the Jets are probably winning 7 of those. But it's them and the Titans, right, battling for the worst in the league, and that's not a place I thought the New York Jets would be at this time of the year, with Justin Fields, with Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, a decent roster on defense. Really disappointing overall. So not surprised by the overall standings, but obviously New England being on top was the big surprise for me out of
Well,
the
New
AFC.
England looking as good as they have. They're not,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Drake May playing as well as he has. I mean, he has really taken the leap. And I don't think it's inaccurate to say right now of the 2024 first round quarterbacks, he's the number one guy. I don't think that's inaccurate to say. And I'm the Caleb lover, and I still would have taken Caleb. I'm not selling my Caleb stock, but
Yeah.
he
But
has
he's
played
having the most success there.
extremely, extremely well. And with his physical size, it's all coming together. That's for sure.
Yep. No question. Let's get to the AFC North. The Pittsburgh
Ooh.
Steelers sit atop the AFC North, but it's getting a little bit tighter, 4-2, and then followed by the 3-4 Cincinnati Bengals, 2-5 Cleveland Browns, and the unexpectedly, incomprehensibly 1-5 Baltimore Ravens. What do you make of this divisional breakdown so far through 7 weeks?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by the Steelers. I had the Steelers as a playoff team and being very competitive. You know, winning games they shouldn't maybe win, and then losing games they probably should win. And that was
Yeah.
my Steelers take to start the season. What I will say about the Steelers, I think is interesting is I didn't expect the way they're playing offense. Like the tight end play is really fun. Like
Yeah.
the way that's developed. I think Arthur Smith a lot of credit to that. So I'm excited to see where the Steelers can keep going with this. I fully expect the Steelers to continue to lead this division for a while, and then it'll be a battle coming down to the end, depending on what happens with Cincinnati. Obviously, this is not what we expected. We didn't expect 2 months ago to be talking about Joe Flacco leading Cincinnati. That's a wild. You transport us back.
Yeah, and putting
If
up
anyone,
33 points on the Pittsburgh
yeah,
defense on 10 days with the new
yeah,
team as
I'll
well.
let you
So,
I'll let you talk about that for sure because
yeah,
I mean it's crazy. But so I listen. I think Cincinnati is now absolutely in the frisky, fun category. Like, can they hang around? Can they go? Can Joe Flacco give them the run he gave Cleveland 2 years ago, where it's like this? I don't know what's going on here. We'll see. Joe Flacco, since that Cleveland run, has had one game spurts, but he hasn't had the
yeah,
multiple
the
game
lasting
spurts.
impact. Yeah,
So we'll see. We'll absolutely see. But listen, they're fun, and Jamar Chase is going to be setting some records here. It looks like. So I'm very interested to see if Cincinnati can kind of keep hanging around the playoffs come December. Cleveland, Dylan Gabriel, I liked the game plans have been bad. And then I feel like they're starting to turn, not with the run game last week. Like, thank you. Just feature Judkins and try to create an offense that is like what Kyle Shanahan would create with a Kyle Shanahan type
yeah.
quarterback. That's
It's
what
what
you have.
Stefanski's wanted to run for a long
Yeah.
time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is his brand of ball.
So I think Cleveland is a team that don't be shocked if they still pull a couple upsets here. I don't know if they're going to win 7 games, but I think they could sneakily find their way to 6 wins maybe and catch some people like that. They have the Bears in a total trap game coming up. The Bears play, I think it's like weeks 11 through 13. The Bears go Packers, Browns, Packers.
Yeah.
Like, talk about a trap game.
Sandwich,
Like if the Bears lose to the Packers in that first game, and it's in a devastating fashion, you're going to lose to the Browns that next week, a physical football team that is, going to be very well coached and ready to go with a very good defense. And then the Bears play the Packers. Like that's a devastating schedule coming on up. And then as far as it goes for Baltimore, we'll see. I mean, this Bears game, I don't have it on my must watch because I try to avoid putting the Bears on my must watch, but it is a must watch game this weekend for the Ravens and for the Bears. Like for the Bears, you can't be embarrassed if Lamar Jackson comes back. You've got to find a way at Baltimore to put up a really good fight. And if you're the Ravens, this is a absolute must win. Getting to
Oh,
2-5, with Lamar plays or not, getting to 2-5 off the bye, kind of righting the ship. You're going to get Roquan Smith back. We don't know 100% if Lamar is going to play or not or yet here on this Wednesday. So it's a huge, huge game. I'll have a much better thought of what to make of the Ravens' future after this game. But I'll say, as far as where the Ravens are now, completely unexpected. Obviously, the injuries play a huge factor in that. But I am a little surprised that John Harbaugh, his team is in this dire of straits because we've seen Lamar miss 2-3 game stretches, 1-2 game stretches, and they're fine. Like Huntley comes in and they have a game plan. It felt very much so as though they were very unprepared for this. And part of that is how bad their defense is. And again, that's something I wasn't prepared for 2 months ago when we were predicting the season. The names and the jerseys say they're going to have at least an average defense. And they've been anything but that. So a lot of question marks for the Ravens. Dan, your Steelers, that loss was as brutal of a loss as you could have ever imagined last Thursday night.
It was pretty crushing. Yeah. I mean, because if you would have told me that the Steelers lose a Thursday night football game against the Bengals without Joe Burrow and Joe Flacco in, I still would have believed it because I would have said, okay, well, one, Joe Flacco knows the Steelers well. Mike Tomlin doesn't do well on the road on Thursday nights. It's like a 2-9 record on Thursday nights on the road. It's a divisional matchup. Anything can happen in divisional matchups. We know that. These teams know each other too well. They always get up for it. The Bengals were spirited. The fans were spirited. I mean, you could hear the impact in stadium, and rarely does that stadium get loud like it did throughout this entire game. So I got to give credit to them for doing that. What I would have been surprised about is the fashion in which they won. And that's the problem. I can accept that loss as a loss in the win-loss column, but the method by which they allowed the Bengals to win this game is what's most concerning because you just can't have the second most expensive defense in the NFL with a defensive head coach with superstars up and down that lineup with by the way, for what's like the second time all year, your full complement of players on the defensive side and put up a pathetic performance like that. The missed tackle rate was high. The complete lack of ability to even figure out something to just
zero adjustments,
the chase slants.
Yeah.
Like at what point in the game do you say we're just gonna make T. Higgins and Yoshivas be the guys that beat us? And they're talented enough to do that. But just to not ever make enough of an adjustment, that's what's mind-boggling about it. Jalen Ramsey, I appreciated like his comments after the game, really just taking ownership of them being bad because that's what it was, not blaming the refs. But they all looked bad across the board. Really, really disappointing effort. I was once again encouraged by the offense. The Bengals defense is terrible, but you still got to go out.
You score 30 on the road, you should win that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Dan, I just want to prompt you with this one too. It's like my thing watching it and why I was just like hurting for you is because if you remove yourself and you would have said to ourselves 2 months ago, hey, the Steelers are going to be 4-2 after the bye, you'd be like positive vibes. Yeah. But now sitting at 4-2, because of the way you lost that game, the vibes are just so like boom, like it just the bottom feels like it fell out.
And the opportunity that was that presented itself,
Yeah.
right? The opportunity to go 5-1 and get an early stranglehold on the division was there and available for you. Now you're a half a game lead over the Bengals for the division. Now, like, you're lucky that the Browns and the Ravens are where they're at. Yeah, that's problematic. And also, it's, it just feels like, are we seriously talking about the great Steelers offense and how their defense shit the bed? Like, is this really where we're at? I mean,
Wow.
it's just crazy that it's come to that. It's one game. Hopefully they'll figure it out, but I think there's a lot to figure out, because it's most of this has been communication issues as well, not to let Tomlin off the hook. And that's inexcusable. I mean, they've had communication issues now for about 4 years. You just can't
No.
you can't have that in the NFL. There's no room to allow for it. So that
You,
was certainly
you
a
can't
problem
coach with it.
there.
You can't win with it.
You can't win with that. Can't do it. But I will say Rodgers is playing great. And it does seem like as the weeks go by, as long as he stays healthy, there's a good chance that he'll be playing for the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers in 2026 as
Any
well.
other thoughts on the division as a whole? I mean, what
Yeah,
are your
I mean,
Ravens
really, just
feelings?
like I think the Bengals, if they can stay afloat with Joe Flacco, they're going to be an absolute threat to win this division, let alone to hang around and get a playoff spot. So they're on watch. Cleveland's not on watch. They're not a team I'm worried about. And Baltimore, this is a team I'm not going to ever count out. They can find lightning in a bottle here and rip off 6 in a row. But their schedule, this is the takeaway for this division. The Baltimore Ravens schedule doesn't really get a whole lot easier. The
Doesn't open
one
up.
thing I'll say for them is, okay, yes, they're 1-5, but they did lose to the Bills, Chiefs, Lions, and Rams in 4 of those. So it's like, okay, I can kind of understand that. But then again, you're the Ravens, supposed to be the top class of the NFL. Like, you have to find a way to beat one of those teams in the playoffs to become a Super Bowl champion.
You,
And you lost all of them.
yeah.
And then the loss to the Texans, too, sprinkled in there was terrible. But with the Bears coming up, that's not going to be an easy game for the Ravens. The Dolphins, they should handle easily. The Vikings won't be an easy game. And so then you get Browns, Jets, like Vikings, Browns, Jets. That's the window, right, to go 3-0, to really pile on. But then after that, it's a bunch of divisional games. It's the Patriots. It's the Packers. Like, that's a really tough end of the season there for them. Not to mention the final 2 games are at Lambeau and at Pittsburgh.
And in the
That's going to be
AFC,
really difficult.
you probably have to get to 10 wins. So you're talking about going 9-2, like to
Yeah.
feel good about it. And
I
that's
feel like the division's almost probably out of reach for them, don't you? It's not entirely,
yeah,
but it's
because
pretty close to closing the door
I
on the
think
division.
I think Pittsburgh, when you look at their schedule and how they're playing, can get to 11 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, Baltimore, that you'd have to go 10-1. I mean, that is, if they do it, they'll have earned it. They'll have earned it. But
100%.
I would not bet it. I would not bet it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they're looking like they'd be lucky to be a 9-8 team by the end of the season and get into the playoffs.
And if they do, then that's a hell of a coaching job. And
Yep.
and even if they miss the playoffs, it's like, hey, we salvaged something from this season. And listen, it's clearly not a perfect Ravens team. It's not a Super Bowl caliber team, because if they
Yep.
were, they would have been able to survive this drought, or they would have won some of those games with Lamar against the tough opponent.
Defense is just too bad.
Yeah.
That's their ultimate problem, and then they
Yep.
need Lamar healthy. All right, let's go to the AFC South. Another surprise. Didn't have the Indianapolis Colts being atop this division through
I had
7
them as
weeks.
the worst team in football.
Yeah. I also didn't think that even if they were atop the division, that they were going to have the best record in football. This is wild. This is crazy. I can't explain it. And I still, part of me, I can't get there to put them in the top 5 standings in our rankings, and I understand those who do, and they've earned it. They've deserved it. It's really hard for me to get over that hump to be like, yeah, this is a true Super Bowl contending team. But Jacksonville's not giving you a whole lot of reason to fear them in this division right now. They're almost lucky to be 4-3, I think, at this point. Houston's been, I wouldn't say a dumpster fire, but they've had a lot of issues. They can't run the ball remotely consistently. This past week, Mark, that game was embarrassing. Like,
Dude, it was
I
hard,
really thought CJ Stroud
hard.
looked really, really bad. Um,
Well, he did. I mean,
it
factually, he did, and
it
factually, that the Texans' offense looked really bad, and they
yeah.
were trying to give the game away, and the Seahawks were trying to give the game away.
Yeah, it
Um,
was a bunch of, like, playing back and forth and who
yeah,
wants this win.
it was ugly.
But man, Seattle gave them so many opportunities. Like, not even Seattle, the Texans defense also, like,
Well,
I
and
gotta
that
give them credit.
the Texas defense is very good,
Yeah,
and that's D'Amico and coaching. Problem is right now. I mean, besides the rookie year with Slovic or what was his name, the
Slowick. Yeah,
Slowick, and then sophomore year was Slowick bad. He got fired. Now they got a new offensive coordinator, and I mean, since the Caleb Williams little bro game, week 2 of last year, CJ Stroud's numbers are worse than Bryce Young's.
yep. Yeah,
That
no,
is
I saw that graphic.
insane to think about.
That is wild.
We, after CJ Stroud's rookie year, we're talking about him as a top 5 quarterback, and we had every right to be because of the way he lifted that team up. I don't see the special with CJ Stroud right now at all.
Agreed. Yeah.
And
It's
listen,
getting into Dak territory,
yeah, but and here's the thing.
but worse.
Obviously, the Texans fucked up. They did not prioritize the offensive line. In fact, they've traded away
Yeah,
Laramie Tunsil.
they gave rid
And
of
it's like they
Tunsil.
fucked up. Like they have got to go 6 draft picks, all offensive line,
Yeah,
trade for offensive linemen. They've got to. I would say the trade deadline here too. They got to go make a move. Like you've got to start trying to improve that offensive line. But I don't take the Texans seriously right now. I think they are be a team that will win some games. I think they'll float around 500. I listen the Titans. I agree with you. They're probably third as far as like bottom of the league team vibes. The positive they have going for them is they have a quarterback who I think can be a he has the chance to be a special player in this league. Like you see some of the special. So like, okay, this is an organization that has made a lot of dumb decisions in the last 3 years. Can they start to fix that? Can they start to right those wrongs? They have some pieces. Can they get something for Tyler Lockett? He's requested a trade. It appears they're going to
oh, they just
honor
released
that.
him. They
When it's
released
released
him,
him,
so,
okay.
yeah.
So what can they start selling some pieces and stockpiling draft picks? And then can they make themselves a desirable place for a head coaching candidate, right? And please, for the love of God, find that offensive guy who wants to work with a talent like Cam Ward. And then let's listen. I'm with you in the Jags. The Jags are. I don't believe in the Jags anymore.
Is
I
it the
think I had the Jags.
same is it the same feeling you have with Houston in that you just don't buy
Listen,
them, like,
I
at
don't.
all? Like, you're
I
like, it's
I think they'll win games still. I think they'll
yeah,
be maybe a 9-win team, maybe a 10-win
I
team. I think they
agree.
might make the playoffs, but I have zero faith in them at all.
To win a big game,
No, I mean
they
Trevor
had one
Lawrence.
earlier this year, and
Trevor Lawrence is just not. He's. It's not happening. Like it's not happening. Like
yeah.
it's just. He's still. Listen, he can prove me wrong, but
I
right
will say,
now,
though, I just wanna, like, comment on this past week's game. I I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the
highest
way
drop
he
rate.
throws the ball, but, like,
Highest
the
drop rate.
drops were insane,
I know.
and I feel like I've been saying that with this team for, like, 3
It's
years,
it's a
where they've
great
had
point.
inexplicable drops from key players in key moments. Calvin
Hot.
Ridley comes to
Yep.
mind, and, like, Evan Engram in big moments
Brian Thomas
dropping huge
Jr. is
clear
not
touchdowns.
good. He's just not good right
Yeah.
now, and they have.
There's a
Uh,
chemistry thing or something, like,
listen,
something's not
Shane Waldron is on that coaching staff.
yeah,
I'm going to say it.
that's
So I don't have a lot of faith in them right now. Could they make the playoffs? Sure, but it's just nothing. Nothing looks easy. Nothing looks consistent. Nothing look. I don't know what they can hang their hat on. For a while, it seemed like ETN, but now it doesn't. Like I don't know.
yeah,
And then obviously Indianapolis. Indianapolis is by far the best team in that division. They're the team in the division I have the most confidence in. I mean, now listen, I have to eat crow. Every year I predict the one team that should just like go into the tank, and every year that team has been the Texans, the Bucks, and now the Colts, where it's like,
yeah.
nope, Mark got it completely wrong, and I own it, and you just kind of laugh at it, and you say to yourself, they're making it work. Now, the ceiling for Indianapolis, I think, is an interesting one to talk about. Can I see Indianapolis playing in a Super Bowl? Right now I would bet against it because I do think when push comes to shove, you're going to have top talent in the AFC that has been there and done that. And I think that matters a ton in a deep playoff run. Can I see Indianapolis hosting the AFC title game? Absolutely. At this point, I can say absolutely because I think they're gonna win maybe 14 games because their division is bad. They'll go 6-0 in division. It feels like their only losses to a Rams team. They should have won that game. That was the how did he fumble that ball game. And the Rams, I believe, are a fantastic football team. So this is a real football team. What will it look like in December outdoors? I don't know, but I
That's
have a feeling it'll look still like they're just going to lean on Jonathan Taylor, who might be the MVP of the league right now. High in Indianapolis, didn't expect it, but I got to trust your eyes.
yeah.
They look for real.
I want to give Indy their flowers, and I want to make it clear that I am not saying that I think they're a bad team. I am still not gonna. I'm not pushing my chips in with the Indianapolis Colts yet, and the main reason for that is they have 6 wins. 4 of them are against the basement of the NFL currently,
They have a lot
and
more
then
of those games though coming up.
they do, but it's not as easy, right? Like they have a trip to Pittsburgh, they have a trip to Arrowhead, they
Those are tough.
have another game in Jacksonville. That's going to be tough. A
Yeah,
game in Seattle,
that's tough.
and the 49ers. Like that's like a 3-week gap right there. That can be tough. I'm just
Yeah,
and to your
they
point,
could
like
end up
on the
2 and
road in
they could end up
December.
2 and 3 in that stretch, and maybe it end up as only an
Yeah.
11-win team, a 12-win team.
Which I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'll even see them at 12 wins
It's fair.
right now. But they're going to be a good team. I think it's pretty clear they're almost certainly going to make the playoffs. Um, but I'm just not. I'm still
Doesn't
waiting
it
for
doesn't
something
it
for like
feel like
Daniel Jones
Minnesota
to rear its ugly head.
it feels like Minnesota last year.
A little
It
bit,
it it feels
a little
it's
bit.
so much like that where you're just kinda like, I mean, they're putting up points, it's incredible, but when push came to shove in the last 2 games Minnesota played last year, Sam Darnold was
Yeah,
terrible.
really, really bad. And then the
And it's the
playoffs. Yeah,
reason why Minnesota moved on from him. Now Sam Darnold is playing great, just like he did last year. So he's right now he's consistently consistent in the meaningless regular season games. He's got to try to change that narrative. I'm with you. It's tough, but I think the schedule is also workable enough to win. I think they'll win the division. And so does that
yeah.
mean maybe they're hosting multiple playoff games? Maybe. But I
It's
don't
all
see
around a success story, and I think that's the main point.
I would bet against Indianapolis in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. The AFC West belongs to the Denver Broncos right now after that impressive win this past week, 5-2, followed by the LA Chargers and Kansas City Chiefs at 4-3 apiece, and then bottoming out are the 2-5 Las Vegas Raiders. Here come the Chiefs. I mean, they've been pretty consistently in our rankings that we do for the For Frequency Sake podcast network, towards the top. I think number 2, 3, 4 throughout the year, and there's a reason for that. We know what was coming, right? And most of people knew that this was gonna, how they started the season was not indicative of their play. So to me, this is still the division for the Chiefs to lose. But Denver is playing well, and they're keeping themselves in the driver's seat for the time being.
See, I don't think Denver's playing well. I think they're just finding ways. I mean, it's
Well,
crazy.
yeah, but that's what I mean. I guess that's what I
Yeah.
mean by
No,
that.
I'm just
They're
saying,
winning
like,
football games and
I
finding ways to do it. I'm not sold on them
there's
either.
a reason they were
Yeah,
down and they had to score 33 points in the fourth quarter.
right.
I think if you were to truth serum, Sean Payton, I think he would shit talk his quarterback for hours. I mean, I think he'd be frustrated as all you know what. And I think if you really watch Bo Nix, you see a lot of the limitations we talked about. Like the deep ball accuracy is just not there. He's been very clutch in the fourth quarter and he's used his legs really well. And when push comes to shove, when Sean Payton is just in effort mode, he has responded well to that, which you give him credit for. He's still really, young. He's not. He's like 28 years old. He's old, but he's
Yeah,
young,
he's
NFL
green
young.
in the NFL. Yeah,
And so I think Bo Nix is the second coming of he's truly the second coming of Dak Prescott, where it's like we'll just never know really what to make of him because he'll never be Mahomes or Allen. but he's got a head coach and he's got a system that is going to lead itself to this type of stuff. I don't know what the Denver Broncos ceiling is. I think it's playoffs at this point in time. It feels that way, but it doesn't feel like it's AFC championship game.
Yeah.
Listen, the Kansas City Chiefs are all the way back. I was at the game last year at Arrowhead against the Raiders where it took a block kick and funky stuff. And like, whoa, the Chiefs, how did they pull that one out? That's crazy. The Raiders lost that game. And now they're back to what they did in 2018 and 2019, where it's like, oh, it's a shit pumping of bad teams. And now that they have Rice back, you just immediately saw it like, oh, this is what they were. This is what they went into
Like
the
they didn't
season
miss a
thinking
step.
it would be. And then there was no Rice and no Xavier Worthy after the first drive. And so they had to patch it together for a couple weeks. This is the Chiefs again, and it's an energized Chiefs team. It is a well-coached Chiefs team. It is a young defense that's got a couple veteran leaders that feel like they're going to be really special in the big moments like we've seen them before. Right now, I think the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. Like they are to me the team that it's like I'd go all in on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And a
and
loss
so
is a loss, but they are
yeah,
1 3-point swing against Jacksonville away from riding a 5-game winning streak right now.
absolutely. And I will throw on top of this for the rest of the division. The Chargers at this point, it's like they have their 2 starting running backs and 2 starting tackles are gone. Like what?
Yeah.
Like
You
that's
just
Jim
can't.
Harbaugh's bread and butter.
Yeah.
And so now we can be critical of Herbert because it's like, well, it's all on him, right? Like if you want to be the MVP, if you want to be talked about in that realm, here's your chance. But in that division, with all the pass rushers in the AFC, like he's just a sitting duck. He's getting murdered
Exactly.
out there. I think the Chargers will be competitive. I think they probably win Thursday night. They're a game that you should watch for tomorrow night, like Vikings at Chargers. I think I feel good about them actually at home, and so I think they'll hang around. I think they could still sneak into the playoffs, but again, their ceiling is dead
Limited for
with
sure.
no running backs and no tackles. And then for the Raiders, I will say this: I'm shocked by how bad it is for the Raiders because again, we both predicted there'd be stability. The Pete Carroll would bring some. Hey, we're not going to be an embarrassment, and they're kind of an embarrassment.
Yeah.
But I feel a lot of that's just Geno. I think the regression of Geno is really just arrived, and I think you'll see Kenny Pickett actually play some, and maybe there'll be a more competent, we're not getting blown out type of football team.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see for sure. That I will note for the Chiefs, they do get a little bit of a break because Marcus Mariota is going to start for the Commanders this upcoming
Yeah.
week, and that was going to be shaping up to be a really, really impressive game. It might still be, but this is now kind of a must win for Kansas City when Marcus Mariota is the
Yeah.
other quarterback, because it's also important. They're going on the road back-to-back games against the Bills and the Broncos after this. So
Yeah.
and then it's the Colts after that, like a tough stretch right now for Kansas
Yeah.
City. This
Well,
is going to be where we really see how much like moxie they truly have.
and it's funny because I look at that stretch and I go, oh, look, Kansas City's going to get the 1 seed. Like they're going to assert their dominance.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. No,
Like
I
that's
think
how
they
I
are
feel
gonna
about them
impress.
right now. It's like they're going to watch. We're going to be in the next time we do this update. We're going to be like, see, remember what we said? Like that stretch, Kansas City goes out and asserts their dominance.
Yep. Let's head to the NFC. The NFC East: Philadelphia Eagles 5-2, the Dallas Cowboys 3-1, the Commanders 3-4, and the New York Giants 2-5. I will say about the New York Giants, I saw a funny meme. They are they're 2 not even last minute drives. They're 2 last 14-second and 33-second drives away from being a 4-2 football team. So it's kind of wild, or a 4-3 football team, I should
Yeah.
say, which would put them in second place in the NFC East right now. But alas, they lost to the Cowboys and they gave up that drive to the Broncos.
And it
as
is
well.
especially wild because what we said going into the season was, hey, they got a front 7 that's going to get after the
Right.
quarterback and make stops.
Yeah.
And that hasn't showed up. But what has showed up is the fact that they found their quarterback and they found their running back. Again, I don't know the longevity of Scatabo and Dart. Do I think we're talking about Scatabo and Dart as elite players that are leading New York to a possible division win come 2031. It is 2020. It's about to be 2026.
Probably not.
Like, I don't believe so. Like, I will bet money against that 100%. Even just like forget Scatabo, like even just Dart. I'm going to say no. But I will say right now it's working and they are a fun watch. I think they could beat anyone on any given Sunday and lose to anyone on any given Sunday. They're proving that. For Dallas, I will say they're one of the teams that has really surprised me because I think they're offensively. We were really worried about Schottenheimer.
Yeah,
They're
Schottenheimer might be doing
they're
all right, you
really
know?
well coached offensively, and now that
Yeah.
they got CD back, Dak is having that. Remember, I found that trend like after injury years, he's really good. He's
Yeah.
following that trend, or he is having an insane year. Again, what is Dallas's ceiling? They can't stop a nosebleed. I think partially that's just on their defensive coordinator. I think that's Eberflus. I'll just say it. Maybe I'm biased, but it feels like they have some guys. It's just they're never in position to take advantage of anything. I think Dallas's ceiling is low, but I think again, you when you see Dallas in your schedule, you go like beep, like we're gonna have to score 30, 35, and we're gonna have to get like one big sack late in the game to hopefully win that game. Like I'm glad Dallas has passed me on my schedule. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As far as Washington goes, this feels like the prime example of a sophomore slump. Like this just feels like they overachieved. It's just so
Well,
much in
and they're just
Houston.
like it's clunky. They're getting it's kinda like the 49ers where they're just too many injuries to overcome,
Yes. Yes.
you know?
And it just feels like Houston last year, where it's like this just like there's not the magic anymore. Can they reclaim that? Can they recapture that? Yeah, Jane Daniels, I think, is still a really, really high-end talent. Like he is a person I'd be excited to watch on Sundays. But again, Jane Daniels missed some time last year, missed time now for the second time this year. This is a big stretch for him. If I was Washington, I would sit him until it's like, dude, are you 100% cleared? Because until that, we can't keep this whole like we need you at what you were last year, which is like playing free at 100%. This team is not good enough
Right,
for
right.
to win without him doing that. So I think Washington can still be a playoff team. I think they can still like find their way to 10 wins, 9, 10 wins and like be there. And then who knows? It's anyone's game. They have weapons. Debo has been surprisingly good when healthy. Can Terry get healthy? Obviously, Bill has been really a fun story. And so I'm not writing out Washington, but I don't see them as an NFC championship game. I think
Yeah.
there's enough depth in the NFC. They're not sneaking their way into an NFC title game this year. I just
I
don't
agree,
believe.
and especially defensively, they haven't
Yeah,
been playing as well
but
as they did
but I
last.
see him as a playoff. I still see him as like a battling for a playoff team. And it wouldn't shock me if they're in the playoffs. And then for Philly, Philly is like the perfect mix of the last 2 years of Philly. It's like they're not the year that they collapsed, but they're not last year. Like it's somewhere in
They're lukewarm,
between.
Philly.
It's sad, somewhere in between that. Now, listen, they needed that win last week, and they needed the way they won that game, where Hurts didn't even think about running the ball. It was just we're gonna dice Minnesota in Minnesota against Brian Flores' defense. We're
Yeah.
gonna just do
Let
that
AJ
to him.
Green have a big day,
AJ Brown,
or
Adonte
AJ
Smith.
Brown, yeah.
Yes, like it was just like and Hurts looked great. So maybe that's now the start of what something, but the fact that Saquon is not Saquon is a huge concern. It is a
Yeah.
massive concern. This offensive line has not been as good. They're missing Mekhi Becton. That guard spot has just been like an absolute wound for them. And so I listen,
Tough
Philly,
schedule coming up too. Packers, Lions, Cowboys in 3 straight weeks.
Philly's
The Giants next week, so
yeah, Philly still feels like an NFC title team right now,
I agree.
but I don't know if I'm betting on Philly to represent the NFC. That's for sure.
Well, I will say, like, last year, the class of the NFC was getting pretty clear that it was the Lions, the Eagles, and the Commanders throughout the season. This year, things are a little bit less
Murky.
definitive. It's more murky. I still feel like the Lions are, but it is murky. I mean, we've seen the Eagles lose in less than you know um,
Stellar
glowing
fashion.
ways,
Yeah.
and so we know that's an outcome that's possible. The NFC North, the Packers are leading 4-1-1. The
Fuck that
Detroit
tie, dude.
Lions are 5-2, so the Lions are basically leading this division.
No, the tie, dude. Use the tie.
It's
The
a
fucking
tie.
tie. I fucking hate the tie.
Your Bears are 4-2, and the Minnesota Vikings 3-3. This is a lot of what we expected. We thought this division was going to be one of the best in football.
Yep.
It was going to be really close throughout the season, and they were all going to fight their tails off. And that's what it's shaping up to be so far. I'm still a little less bullish on the Packers. Like, I think they've shown some of their warts and their weak spots and vulnerability. So we'll see how the next like 3-4 weeks go for them.
Yep.
I think we can start to see them start to falter. That tie has helped them so far. End of season, is that going to help them, or is that going to be more of a detriment? We'll find out. But I do think the Lions are going to overtake this pretty handily. After another month of football, I think we'll see Detroit firmly atop, and maybe the Bears are even going to be able to push themselves ahead of the Packers.
The thing the tie is two things on the tie. Number one is it's starting to look like a better tie because Dallas is playing better. So you're kind of like, oh, okay, like, hey,
That's
Dallas
true.
is playing better. The other thing is it gives the NFC North teams a clear directive. If you have the same wins as Green Bay, they will take the spot above you. So if you're trying to fight for a wild card spot and you're Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, and you end up with 10 wins and Green Bay ends with 10 wins, you're fucked. So even if the Bears beat Green Bay twice, if it's 10 wins and 10 wins, their win percentage could be just a tiny bit higher because they tied and you didn't. So that is a huge advantage for Green Bay when you're trying to figure out wild card or division, whatever they're battling for against the three other teams in the division. Listen, this is the one division this in the NFC West, I feel like I nailed 2 months ago versus now. The Bears are competitive and really fun, and
right now
the Bears are competitive and really fun, and the Bears are absolutely, to me, surprising me in the sense that they have the only team in the NFL to score 21 points or more in every single one of their games. They're a top 8 scoring team in the NFL, and they're doing it without Caleb Williams like skyrocketing. I thought in order for them to do that, it would be Caleb Williams had to be like putting up ungodly numbers, but it really looks a lot like Jared Goff's first year in the Ben Johnson system, where you're having these kind of like a roller coaster where it's like it's a run game day, and then it's a Caleb day, and then it's like and everyone's getting involved. It's just like no one's the one. And then eventually by year 2 and year 3, St. Brown established himself. They drafted Gibbs, and then that offense really filled itself out. And I think the Bears are another offseason away from that, right? Where Rome really ascends to number 1. And then you get your running back who's the guy, and you know what I mean? And then like Swift is having since the bye week.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift is arguably the best running back in football. The running game is just completely turned around in the last 2 weeks. And that, again, is coaching. So I'm really pleased about where the Bears are sitting at. And they have a huge opportunity in front of them to continue to fight for that 10-win mark that I have them there. I will say, as far as the Vikings go, listen, I don't know what to tell you about the Vikings because it's still, the season was only about one thing. It's about JJ McCarthy, and he's barely played. And he's got the thing is about the Vikings, the rest of the roster is healthy. It's ready to go. Like, they've got to get him back. They've got to get him playing, and they got to figure out what they're doing with him and what the future is in that spot. Because Carson Wentz is fine, but they're not going anywhere with Carson Wentz. He's not popping like Sam Darnold did last year. So it's like you got to get him back in. Detroit, to me, it looks like the class of the NFC right now with the Rams. And I very, very bullish on Detroit. I give them so much credit. They had such a brain dump offensive and defensive coordinator and so many people doubting them. And their offense has been stellar. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is the best running back in football right now. And then for the Green Bay Packers, I worry that they're rounding into form. Like, they started hot, it cooled off, and now it's Golden's getting involved, and Micah Parsons has 3 sacks, and there they come. That tie, I think, is a huge benefit to them. I think it will be. And so I feel that the Packers are going to be hard to topple in this division. I think the Lions will get it.
Yeah.
I think the Lions will get it. But I think the Green Bay Packers will be sitting there right there. I predict them at the number 1 wild card spot. And so, man, it's a tough NFC North.
It is. It's super competitive, and I'm really excited to watch this one in particular of all the divisions and how this kind of yo-yos back and forth, because I do think these standings are probably going to jumble up quite a bit over the next,
Can I say really
10
quickly,
weeks.
now that you pulled that up, that's so funny. If I had to make one change right now to the NFC, like legitimate change,
Yeah.
I would swap
For those
Washington,
listening, we're looking at our predictions
and
from this
I have the
weekend.
Eagles 1, the Rams 2, Lions 3, Bucks 4. I feel confident those are my division winners. I'm not changing
Yeah.
anything. And then I have Packers, Washington, Bears. I'm going to swap Washington for Seattle.
Yeah. Yep. And
And
then
I had Seattle just missing. That was my first team out. Oh, yeah, damn,
that's
you're right
right.
on.
Yeah. I had Seattle, I think, 2 below.
Yeah, you like San
Um,
Fran, and you're still believer, and you should be. They're 5-2, and they don't have any of their starters.
yeah, yeah. No, I do feel pretty good. I don't know how I feel about the Rams being the 1 seed, but they're certainly in contention for it
Yeah,
currently right now. So still feel decent about those standings. But yeah, I thought it'd be a good time to bring these up and do
yeah,
some comparisons. But the NFC South, I think we're both confident in that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at
yeah.
5-2, but
What
the
are your thoughts on
Carolina Panthers
Atlanta?
at 4-3, the Atlanta Falcons at 3-3, a little bit more chippy than maybe we even gave them credit for. The Saints at 1-6. This is to be expected, but I think they're playing better football than 1-6 indicates, which is
Feisty.
the best case scenario for New Orleans right now.
Yeah, they're feisty. I will say for kind of it's a bummer that Bryce Young's going to miss this week because I would love to
I
see
know.
Bryce Young play well and maybe upset the Bills at home. It looks like Dalton's going to get the start. I think the Bills will come out and just really kind of put their foot down. I think you'll see Carolina's win home streak kind of fall apart this week. But yeah, I mean, Carolina's been a little bit of a surprise. I mean, they're in contention right now, and that is fun. I think it's a positive vibes thing to see them start to turn it around for that fan base. I don't know how it's going to end for them. I still think they'll end up with only probably about 7 wins, 8 wins.
Yeah.
But for them to be legitimately in that spot at this point in time of the season, I think is a win for them. For Atlanta, they're like the Niners and the Vikings for me. I have no idea still. Like I just have no idea. One week it's great, the next week it's crap. Michael Penix is now knee soreness. Like I just don't know. I don't think Penix, to me, he's a lot more Bo Nix than he is Drake May. He's a lot more JJ McCarthy than he is Caleb and Jaden. I don't see the wow. I don't see the special. He's a lot more
Yeah.
Tua.
It's a
Than
lot more reliant on the skill
yeah,
position players having
yeah,
huge
and they
days.
have great
Bijan and
they have
Drake.
great skill position players.
Yeah.
But I don't think Atlanta's anything like serious. And then I will say for Tampa Bay, yeah, it's a tough loss on the road
Yeah.
against Detroit. And Baker didn't play great, but they're fine. Like they've had a tough schedule. They still have a tough schedule. I still think they're going to be hanging right in there, win that division, and they will
Tough
be able.
loss with Mike Evans, though. That is
Yeah. But
brutal.
at least it's clarity. Like, right,
Yeah.
okay. They were kind of dealing with when is he coming back? Now he's done. He's out.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
clarity.
great
And
that Egbuka turned out to
dude,
be,
stud.
really, really good.
Stud.
So it's gonna,
Stud.
soften the blow a little bit.
Yeah.
Finally, the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers and Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams are all 5-2, with the 49ers currently slated in that top spot. And then at the way bottom are the 2-5 Arizona Cardinals. So another division that we thought was going to be pretty feisty. I guess for both of us, Arizona is probably the biggest surprise here in the fact that they really haven't been terribly competitive
I
at
th-
all in most of their games.
I think I had the Niners, the Rams, and the Seahawks all at 10 wins, but then only the Rams getting in. Because like the Bears,
Yeah.
I had remember I was like, everyone's at 10 wins. Like I really felt good about those teams. And so I'm pumped that that's coming to fruition. I think Seattle's a little bit better than I expected. Like Darnold's playing really well, and Jackson Smith and Jigba he's wide receiver number 1
So
right now.
good.
I mean, Jamar Chase, I think I'd still take, but Jackson Smith and Jigba, there's a reason they traded DK Metcalf. We're seeing it now. He's a stud. And if you're Sam Darnold, you feel like Baker Mayfield. You feel like $1 million. You're like, I'm in an amazing spot,
Yep.
and I have this weapon to just feed. The run game is going for them. They're a tough out. They're a tough football team. I know that late game Monday night was not pretty, but I still think they're going to be a tough out. I don't have any faith in the 49ers. I didn't before the season to make the playoffs. I don't have them to make the playoffs now because I think truly they're better off with Mac Jones. And they're gonna
I think so
when
too.
they're gonna get Brock Purdy back and they're gonna put him in. Listen, Christian McCaffrey's having a great season. I think they'll get Kittle going. Once Purdy gets going, Kittle will get going because their connection is real. Pearsall's out injured. I just don't know what they look like when they're back all healthy with Purdy. I just don't know if they're as good. And I think the Rams right now, them or the Lions to me are the NFC title. Like they're the two I'd bet to be in the NFC title game. I'd put probably Packers 3, Eagles 4 in that order as far as my hierarchy
Sure.
in the NFC. Which I know is dumb because I don't even have the Packers on my power rankings, but I'm ranking them ahead of the Bears and the Eagles, all these teams I do in my power rankings. Just let me have that. And so, uh, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on the Niners because I think we both like the Rams. I think we're both, pleasantly surprised with the Seahawks. The Cardinals should fire like they need a new quarterback and a new coach. Like they just need a clean slate.
Yeah, start over.
And that'll be interesting to see where Kyler ends up. I think he's a starting quarterback, maybe where and like what his ceiling is. Like if you get him on a Darnold-esque deal, like an affordable deal, I think it could be a real positive for your team. But Dan, explain to me the Niners. You still got them
Yeah.
winning that division or making the playoffs? Like I have no idea.
I mean, I had the Rams winning it and getting the 1 seed before the year. I still feel like that's in play. If I had to bet who's winning this division, I think I still would take the Rams to win this division come season's end. But I do think the 49ers have something. It's not the worst problem to have. Like, even if they put Brock Purdy in, they can always go back to Mac Jones and it's going to be fine. I just worry that they would extend Purdy for, a couple games too long before making that change back. And that may be what costs them the division because
He'll be rusty. He'll be
as
not
long as,
100%.
yeah. And as long as Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, I mean, they can keep having him win the games for them. That's fine. They've weathered so many injuries, and to be in 5-2, I think is super impressive. I think that says a lot about Kyle Shanahan. And I think it also says a lot about the fact that they could get George Kittle back and still not make him a focal point and let him somewhat ease his way into the game and be a blocker and still win football games. So I think that there's still a lot of optimism for San Francisco, despite the injuries to Fred Warner and Bosa, then Kittle and Juwan Jennings and Ayuk. But I think health is on the horizon for them, and I think that should scare the rest of the NFL. But yes, it's the Rams to me that are still the consistent team in this division that give me the most scare. And
Yeah.
then Seattle, great team, but I also don't see them having the consistency come year end to be in the mix for the division title. I think it's going to be the two teams. I think it's going to be the 49ers and the Rams going toe to toe. But I also think Seattle's worked themselves into a playoff spot by just how they've played this year. I think 3 teams in this division are making the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't
Yeah.
doubt it. That's for sure. All right. Besides Bears and Ravens and Packers Steelers, which I both think are great games this weekend, and I think they would be, they are on our must watch. But we're going to watch those games. Packers Steelers is a huge game.
It is. I think that's a really big game.
What are the 1 or 2 other games you say like, hey, if I can only watch 1 or 2 other games, what do you have? I'll see if they match up.
I didn't think I'd be saying this, but I really think Cowboys Broncos.
I have it.
Is a super important game.
Yeah.
I think it's really important for both. The Cowboys need this win to keep the mojo going and to stay afloat in the NFC East and really, say something to a lot of the naysayers. They get CeeDee Lamb back. It's on the road. Can you perform in that environment, especially with the defense you have? And for the Broncos, can you come out strong and actually not make it a fourth quarter crazy comeback situation that, like, can you string together a full 60 minutes against a not very good defense? Can you actually show up and, the Broncos should win this game, and I think most people think based on how these
They're
two
at
teams
home.
stack up that they should win pretty convincingly. So now you need to go and do it because if you're the Broncos, you lose this game. That's a really bad loss, especially because you stole one. So you stole one. Now you gotta um, stack that. Um, and I guess the fact that they stole one, if they lose this, they could say, okay, well, if we went 1-1 in those games, that's fine. But really, I don't think that does wonders for the trajectory of this team, given that they could have so easily lost to the Giants. If you barely beat the Giants and then lose to the Cowboys, I do think trouble's on the horizon with the way Kansas City's playing and the fact that the Chargers are looming as well. So very important game for both of these teams.
All of the pressure's on Denver, right? Because
It is. Yeah.
if you lose, Kansas City's probably going to win Monday night. And it's like, well, there goes the lead. Now you're tied. And now you're in the same old hole. And if you lose, it'll mean that your offense didn't do enough against a defense that everyone's taking advantage of. And then that's obviously a concern with Bo Nix and the talking we've already been talking. And then for the Cowboys, like if you went to Denver against the defense that is leading the league in sacks and you find a way to win, like you're for real. Like you've now battled back. You're 4-3-1. And now it's like Dallas is a real player in that division to win
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
maybe they're
It's changed
figuring
a
some
lot.
stuff out. So I think that's it. And my other game would be, and I'll see your thoughts on it, is 49ers at Texans. I think the
Mhm.
weight of that game, the Thursday night's going to be a huge one, I think, as well. But 49ers at Texans, Texans season's almost on the line.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't fall to 2-5 with the way that Indy is playing and the way the AFC wildcard playoffs are going to shake out. Because 9 wins is not a guarantee to get in. And again, if you're at 2-5, you're going to have to go on a prolific stretch to get there. 3-4 is so much better than 2-5.
Yeah.
And you're at home. And for the 49ers, again, it's this idea of who's playing, right? And so and are you for real? Like what is this whole team? I still feel like I'm learning. One of the reasons why the Vikings and Chargers and 49ers and Texans, those two games are so interesting to me is I don't really know who's playing quarterback for either team. Vikings and Niners. And again, I don't really know what these teams' like final trajectory is because we just don't know what their final evolution looks like. If their
Mhm.
final evolution was Carson Wentz and Mac Jones, I'd feel more confident being like, no, it's not that important and we'll figure it out. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I don't know why that happened.
All right. But hey, I'm
I
back
just
up
took
there.
you
My
off the
predictions.
screen.
The predictions are back. But so I think those are my must watch games besides Bears and Ravens and then Packers Steelers too. It's there.
I'm
It's there.
having a disaster moment here on the show right
Hey,
now.
to wrap up really quickly, if you had to vote for an MVP and a coach of the year, who would you vote for?
MVP and coach of the year. That's an interesting. That's a good question. MVP and coach of the year. I would say coach of the year. It could be Kyle Shanahan. I mean, with everything that they've had to deal with right now, I would say probably Kyle Shanahan, and then MVP. I mean, I honestly I would have said still that like Josh Allen, but then there was after the last couple of weeks leading up to this, that's not great. That's honestly like Christian
It's tough.
McCaffrey like is also like on probably Jonathan Taylor though. I mean, if
Yep.
I was really, I think the Colts' success is tied to that personally, and so I would give him the nod there.
My coach of the year is Dan Campbell right now. I think
Okay.
what he has done to regain control of that franchise after the brain dump, right? And everyone panicking, like, oh, like it shows he has built this culture. Like this is Dan Campbell, right? And this is his
Yeah.
culture. And then my MVP, Jonathan Taylor, like is absolutely deserving of a vote. I think Christian McCaffrey is absolutely deserving in the discussion. I think I would probably vote for either Goff or Stafford. I think Stafford and Goff are
Mm,
putting up numbers and they are again like leading their teams. I just don't they're both so the identity and the heart and soul of their teams, and their
Yeah.
teams are playing well, that I feel like I'm comfortable giving either one of those guys like the MVP. I mean,
I mean,
Stafford, dude, they didn't leave for London until Saturday morning. They went to London then to play the Jags, who are the kings of London. And Stafford throws 5 touchdowns in the morning, and no one talks about it.
that's true.
With
Yeah.
no Puka
Good point.
Nacua. Just, all right, I'll just throw 3 to Devontae Adams. Like, it's fucking insane how good he is when
It
he's
is
healthy
crazy. It
at
is
his
crazy.
age. And I think an MVP for him would help solidify his Hall of Fame. He's
Yeah.
a Hall of Famer already, but like he
That would
gets
be
an
amazing.
MVP. I think
Yeah.
I'd lean probably Stafford at this point.
Yeah, I say Jonathan Taylor, hopefully, because I know that they're not going to give it to a running back.
Keep the pace, Jonathan Taylor. Keep the pace. Keep the pace. Let's go.
Yeah, but
He's got
Stafford,
double the
that would be awesome.
touchdowns. He's got double the touchdowns that the Titans have scored this year.
It's wild.
That's awesome.
Incredible stuff. All right, well, that does it for our divisional
Fun
breakdown recap through 7 weeks of the NFL season. We'll be back next week with our traditional weekly recaps. But until then, go check out the other shows on the For Frequency's Sake podcast network, and we'll see you again next week.